Professor Franks, let me ask you, I listened to your and Ms. Hemingway's testimony and Professor Turley, so I got part of it. As I understand it, your position, Professor Franks, is that, I think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech, but that the Trump administration is doing that. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you think perhaps you're allowing your personal political beliefs to affect your objectivity here?
No, I do not. What is guiding my answers here is that I'm looking to see what the Supreme Court has said. You notice that in the testimony about the censorship industrial complex.
I got that part.
No, I just want to clarify.
No, but I've only got 5 minutes. Your answer is no, as I appreciate it. Let me ask you a couple questions. You wrote a law review article in December of 2023 for the New York University Law Review, and it was about the two cases, Bruin, Supreme Court case, and Dobbs. Remember that article?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In this article, you said, I'm going to quote your words, "Taken together, these two cases demonstrate that the Supreme Court has embraced the use of the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy," end quote. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went on to say, quote, "When the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. And did you also say in that article, I'm going to quote again, quote, "by simultaneously expanding white men's right to kill and constricting women's right not to die, this Supreme Court," referring to the current United States Supreme Court, "has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well," close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
Okay. In November of 2024, you tweet, don't you?
I'm not sure what the current terminology is for it, but yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, you're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You try to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the relevance
Well,
of this question is.
let me show you the relevance. On November 7th, 2024, from your tweet, here's one of your tweets at 2:41 p.m., quote, "The majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this.
Did you say it?
What happens when a congressional hearing stops being about policy and becomes a test of credibility? In this moment, a senator shifts away from constitutional arguments and begins reading a law professor's own words back to her, academic writings, social media posts, and public commentary. Suddenly, the focus changes. The question is no longer just about free speech or the Supreme Court. It becomes something bigger. Can someone serve as an objective expert witness while also being an outspoken political advocate? Welcome to Capitol Deep Dive.
Close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this.
Did you say it?
I do not have those words in front of me. I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is the relevance of that to
Here it
this
is, big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Yes.
But your political beliefs don't impact your feelings about President Biden or President Trump.
I don't have feelings about either of them. What I have
Sounds
is
to me like you have your favorite feeling is anger. Let me ask you this. You issued another tweet. This was in May of 2022. You've just been tweeting up a storm. You said, quote, There's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms. And that reason is white male supremacy, close quote. Did I read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question that is relevant to this hearing?
Did I read that correctly? Do you really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First Amendment prohibits the president and other state officials for punishing people for
Did you honestly say that, Professor? And you expect us,
that the First Amendment,
as a Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
I believe that you should take
You
the First
heard of
Amendment
curb your
seriously, sir.
enthusiasm? Here's my saying, curb my nausea.
This exchange laid bare the growing tension between academic advocacy and legal objectivity in congressional hearings. The senator's line of questioning was simple but strategic. If Professor Franks argues that claims of Biden-era government-compelled speech are a myth, while asserting that the Trump administration engaged in such coercion, can her testimony truly be separated from her openly expressed political views? To test that claim of neutrality, the senator entered Frank's own words into the record, language from a 2023 Law Review article and multiple social media posts that framed Supreme Court decisions as products of racial patriarchy, white male supremacy, and a constitutional order that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill. The point, by repeatedly confirming the accuracy of her own statements, Franks effectively acknowledged that her public commentary casts the Supreme Court not as an institution interpreting law, but as an ideological engine of oppression. That framing, the senator argued, directly undermines her claim of detached, precedent-based analysis. The exchange deteriorated when Franks declined to directly reaffirm her statements, instead questioning their relevance. But relevance was precisely the issue. When a witness presents herself as an objective interpreter of constitutional doctrine, prior assertions that the court is motivated by racial dominance inevitably raise doubts about analytical neutrality. What made the moment striking was not the senator's skepticism, but Frank's refusal to reconcile her academic rhetoric with the role she was playing in the hearing. The hearing underscored a broader challenge facing Congress. When scholars move from critique to activism, the line between expert testimony and ideological advocacy becomes increasingly difficult to defend.
Classic oversight tactic, placing prior rhetoric next to present testimony to challenge claims of neutrality. And in congressional hearings, neutrality is currency. If a witness can be framed as ideological rather than analytical, their authority weakens. Moments like this reveal how political communication really works. The witness is defending credibility, the lawmaker is shaping a narrative, and the audience decides which story feels more convincing. This is Capital Deep Dive.